They had my 15-year-old son in handcuffs on the side of the road, wrists red, head down, shaking, while two grown men in black vests labeled HOA cops told him he was being lawfully detained. Not at school, not at home, but standing on the curb like a criminal because a grown woman with an HOA title decided to make an example out of my child. One of the HOA cops had a grip on Evan's arm like he was afraid my son might run. The other stood behind him, chest puffed out, hand resting near a pair of cuffs he clearly couldn't wait to use again. "Sir," one of them said when he noticed me approach. "Step back. This is an HOA enforcement matter." I looked at my son's face, pale, scared, trying not to cry. He was 15. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Because to understand how two fake HOA cops thought they could detain a minor, you need the backstory. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm an FBI agent. I live quietly. I don't throw my job around. I don't intimidate neighbors. I believe in keeping my head down and my family safe. That's exactly why Linda Morrow, the HOA president, hated me. Linda loved control. She ran the HOA like a personal kingdom, inventing rules, selectively enforcing them, intimidating anyone who pushed back. Most people folded. I didn't. I asked for written bylaws. I requested meeting minutes. I cited state statutes when she overstepped. I embarrassed her publicly, calmly, and legally. She never forgave that. So when she couldn't touch me directly, she went after the one thing she thought would break me, my son. That afternoon, Evan had been walking home from a friend's house. Daylight, public sidewalk, headphones in, backpack on. Linda saw him pass the clubhouse, and that was enough. She claimed he was loitering near HOA facilities, accused him of recording HOA property, invented a youth curfew rule that didn't exist. When Evan refused to give his name and address because he didn't have to, she called in her HOA security. Two men, no badges, no real authority, just black vests, cheap radios and inflated egos. They stopped my son, questioned him, told him he wasn't free to leave, and they put him in handcuffs. No parent notified, no police called, no legal grounds, just power used on a kid. When I arrived, one of them said loud enough for the neighbors filming across the street to hear, "He'll stay detained until further notice." HOA policy. I felt something cold settle in my chest. I stepped closer. "That's my son," I said evenly. "And you're going to take those cuffs off him right now." The HOA cop smirked. "Sir, this doesn't concern you." That's when I knew this wasn't just harassment anymore. This was a crime. And they had no idea who they just put their hands on or how badly this was about to end for everyone involved. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten anyone. I focused on my son. "Evan," I said calmly, keeping my hands visible, my body angled between him and the men restraining him. "Look at me. You're okay. You didn't do anything wrong." His eyes met mine, red, wet, and terrified. He nodded once. The HOA cop, gripping his arm, tightened his hold instead. "Sir," he snapped. "Step back. You're interfering with HOA enforcement." "Release my child," I said, slow and controlled. Right now, the second HOA cop stepped forward, chest puffed out, chin high. "We're authorized under HOA safety protocol," he said. "Your son refused to identify himself." I asked one question. "Under what statute are you detaining a minor?" Silence. They looked at each other. No answer. I reached slowly into my jacket and removed my credentials. Deliberate, visible, no sudden movement. I held them up at chest level. "Daniel Cross," I said. "Federal Bureau of Investigation." The effect was immediate. The first HOA cop's face went pale. His grip loosened without him realizing it. His mouth opened, then closed. The second one stiffened. Then he made the worst possible decision. "That doesn't change anything," he said. "HOA authority still applies. HOA law overrides federal law." I felt it then. That unmistakable shift. Not confusion. Defiance. "Take the cuffs off," I ordered. "No," he said flatly. I stepped closer. "Do not touch my son again." The first HOA cop backed up a half step, eyes darting. The second shoved Evan forward hard, trying to create distance between us. That was it. I moved. I drove forward and struck the second HOA cop square in the chest, sending him stumbling backward. He reached for me, grabbing my shoulder. I wrapped his arm, stepped through, and dumped him onto the pavement hard enough to knock the air out of him. The first HOA cop lunged, panic, fully in control now. I met him head-on, forearm to throat, knee to thigh. He buckled instantly. I shoved him down and pinned him long enough to rip the keys from his belt.
Metal clattered. I unlocked the cuffs. Behind me, I told Evan.
The second HOA cop tried to stand.
Big mistake.
I closed the distance and dropped him again.
Elbow, shoulder, ground. He didn't get back up.
Both men were down, breathing, broken, finished. Phones were everywhere now. Neighbors shouting, someone screaming that they tried to arrest a minor. I pulled my phone out.
911, I said calmly.
2 men impersonating authority unlawfully detained my minor son.
Physical assault occurred.
Suspects are down. Send police and medical. I ended the call and stood over them. Not touching, not threatening, just present. Evan stood behind me, free, safe. Sirens were already getting closer and everyone on that street knew exactly what had just happened. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better.
Police arrived fast.
Real cruisers, real authority, real uniforms. They took one look at the scene and knew this wasn't normal. 2 grown men in black HOA cop vests sitting on the curb, scraped up, breathing hard. My son standing behind me, wrists still red where the cuffs had been. Neighbors packed along the sidewalk with phones raised, recording everything from multiple angles. An officer stepped toward Evan immediately.
"Hey buddy," he said gently. "You hurt?" Evan shook his head. "They put cuffs on me."
I didn't do anything. That was all it took. The officers separated everyone. One took my son aside. Another approached me.
"Sir," he said,
"we're going to need statements." "I'll give you everything," I replied. "But first, those men unlawfully detained my minor child." That officer's jaw tightened. The HOA men tried to talk over each other.
"We were authorized. HOA policy."
He was loitering. The officer cut them off. "HOAs do not detain minor.
Sit down and be quiet."
I handed over my credentials next.
"Calm, clean, no theatrics. Daniel Cross, FBI." The tone changed instantly.
A supervisor arrived within minutes.
Then another.
Then a call went out that never should have been necessary for a neighborhood dispute. Because this wasn't a dispute. It was felony false imprisonment of a minor. Investigators didn't rely on anyone confessing. They didn't need to. They pulled HOA emails, phone logs, internal messages, meeting notes, security directives. They subpoenaed Linda Merrow's HOA records and found exactly what I expected. A fabricated youth safety policy that had never been voted on. Messages instructing HOA security to hold the boy until compliance is achieved. Language encouraging temporary restraint if necessary. No legal review.
No law enforcement involvement, no parental notification.
She didn't just overstep, she engineered it. By the end of the week, charges were filed. The 2 HOA enforcers were charged with unlawful detention of a minor, false imprisonment, impersonating lawful authority, assault, and conspiracy.
Both took plea deals.
Each received 4 years in state prison, probation afterward, and permanent bans from any security-related work. Linda Morrow didn't get to hide behind the HOA. She was charged with conspiracy to commit false imprisonment, solicitation of unlawful detention, child endangerment, abuse of authority, and filing falsified HOA enforcement documents.
She was convicted.
Linda received 25-year sentence and $50,000 in restitution and a permanent ban from serving on any HOA board in the state. The HOA didn't survive the lawsuits.
Parents came forward. Homeowners followed.
The association collapsed under civil liability within months. As for my son, the charges against him never existed because there were never charges to begin with. That night, I tucked him into bed. He didn't say much, just asked one question. "Dad, am I in trouble?"
I shook my head. "No," I said.
"You did exactly what you were supposed to do." And as I turned out the light, I realized something important. Some people mistake authority for power, and some forget that the law doesn't belong to them. And that's the day an HOA learned the hard way. You don't get to practice control on a child and call it policy. What do you think, folks? Did I do the right thing, or I did what any dad would have done for his son? What would you have done if 2 fake HOA cops tried to detain your son?
I would love to know. The end.